ordinary man can handle this.
Well, most people don't have the patience to break it in.
Apparently, I can't handle it. It's a Medford.
Well,
yes?
It's a Strider that loved Medford so much that it became a Medford.
Okay, it's the Striderford. Today's video is all about the greatest American brand.
Undisputed.
Undisputed. This is tongue-in-cheek, without a doubt. So, it's Medford.
Well, let's lay it out there for them.
Right.
So, this is something that we're going to start. It's another new series, and we've set some ground rules. So, we're not going to speak to a brand unless we own at least 3 knives of that brand in the collection that we've carried. We're starting it with Medford because it is the undisputed greatest knife brand in America, and we have 8 Medfords on the table. That's a lot of money.
It's true. Ask anyone. They'll tell you all the same thing. Medford. Medford's the best. Love Medford. Ask anybody. Okay? Love Greg. He's great. He's great. He's great. So, Medford knives. How many do we have on the table? 1,
8.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 Medfords, not including...
Well, including the Striderfords.
Right, well, yeah.
But they're made by Medford.
It's a Medford.
And people whine and cry about Medford because they don't open and they don't close.
And they're big.
And they hurt. And
they're too big to be sharp, which is the stupidest lie.
That is something that somebody said one time. I remember that. I was looking at tearing. I remember that. And the thing is maybe they're right. No, it is a thick edge. The thing is a thick edge is just durable. It doesn't mean it won't do the job.
Right.
A super, super thin edge is always going to be sharper. But it doesn't mean that a Medford is not sharp. And also, I mean, I haven't done anything to the 187
right.
ever.
Right.
So
other
than maybe a little bit of leather, and I've had it for a long time. But the little Gentleman Jack has a much thinner hollow ground blade. Of course, it's going to be more slicey dicey, right? Then you have the M48. Oh yeah, that thing is so sweet, dude. And it's going to cut and be more slicey dicey as well. But when you get to like the Slim Midi, now this is from One Knife Project. So this dude,
it's got some mileage.
This is like an old tractor trailer. So it's sharp, but I sharpen it constantly because it gets beat up on a regular basis. The idea behind this knife is the One Knife Project is it gets used and carried every day. And there's an Instagram page dedicated to this knife. Probably their greatest EDC overall design is the Slim Midi. They have a drop and a Tonto. And it's lightweight. It is thin. It's heavy duty. So it's flippable, and this is really sort of the middle of the road for them, both in price, design, weight, all of that. It's not dainty, but it's not a 187.
Right, it's
with
still
super duper thick stock.
It still feels substantial, but it's not heavy.
Right.
It's still made with quality materials. It's just not as chunky as you might be used to or might expect from a Medford.
Yeah.
Now, Medford gets a lot of flack from the knife community. Like, you either love them or you hate them. And I think it comes down to 2 things. It's the fact that they're big and you got to break them in, and it's cost.
They're super expensive.
But they are the most, in our humble opinion, the most American, like if I was going to pick a knife to represent the United States of America and like the pride of being an American, it would be a Medford.
Right.
Because you just can't beat them. And they come razor sharp, one of the sharpest knives we've ever experienced.
Yeah, right out of the box, they come really, really sharp.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things, and they should, for the money.
Yeah.
They should come sharp.
So Medford knives out of Arizona, right?
Yep.
Make everything in-house, screws, everything. If you go on their website, you can literally customize your dream knife on their website. Now, you might have to take out a home equity loan to pay for it, but
you're getting a custom in-house nose to tip.
And beyond that,
nose to tail.
if you find one of their retailers You can find a knife that's custom to you through them that maybe they picked out and purchased, and you can buy it through them.
So this is a new one. We just got it.
A new one to the collection.
Yep. We just got the Proxima, and it's brand new. And yeah, you know what? It needs some detent break-in.
But I love that.
But that is part of the game. Well, there's no shame in that game.
He has spoke to that.
And that big old fat blade is apparently not sharp. It's sharp. I haven't touched it yet.
Yeah, it's definitely sharp.
That's sharp. That is scary sharp. So, as far as we're concerned, the greatest American brand is the one that you can trust. Now, one of the things I really like is I like Hinderer. Hinderer is another great American brand. Yeah. And it's a bit clickbaity to say Undisputed because there's a lot of great American brands.
Oh, for sure.
Case is a great American brand. Buck is a great American brand. You know, Gerber has had a resurgence in some of their stuff. You know, it's out there. And there's a ton of small Emerson, top of the line. ProTech. There are some that are small companies like a Bark River and LT Wright that are in the fixed blade, bushcraft, you know, that side. But we're talking about sort of the EDC top of the line. And I'll tell you that not a lot of people give our Medfords as much love as I think they deserve on our Instagram. You know, we take some pretty killer shots of stuff. And it's like, you know what? You guys need to open your minds a little bit about that. Should a knife cost that much? Well, sure it should. It doesn't mean that you won't ever get there or appreciate it. You want something to be out there. Look, not everybody's going to drive a Ford Raptor or the Ram, the TRX or whatever. Not everybody's going to drive that, but I sure do want that to be here. Here's
the thing about it. When it comes to Medford, I think, is it's a lot of money. Sure, it's expensive. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you get quality. You get a excellent warranty, new or used. And as long as you haven't modded your knife, it's covered. If something goes wrong with it.
Yep.
They are built to break in because they're built to last. This is a knife that you can hand down to a generation, and then they can hand down to another generation.
Unabashedly pro-American.
Oh, no question.
The nice thing about...
You'll never find a Medford made in a foreign country.
The nice thing about Greg that we've heard, we haven't witnessed it firsthand, but he actually gets down on the ground floor at events, and he actually speaks to people. And apparently he even... took a bunch of customers out to a restaurant at an event I heard about. That got a lot of great feedback. He is, you know what? People have called there, and you can speak to the guy. He is not this sort of. He seems pompous and arrogant, but it's the pompous and arrogance that you want for making.
I don't even
what
know if
you
it's
want.
that. I think
you
people
want. No, it is because. That's being unabashed, unashamed about what it is he's about. And that's what he's about. He's about creating this product. And he's not going to back off of that point.
I think it's more confidence. I think he's just confident.
But it doesn't matter. That's the perception that people have of his product.
So it's still so stiff.
It's going to be a minute. But that's part of the challenge, my brother Chip. So this is one of the greatest knives ever made. Is the 75 AR.
Which says Strider on the blade, but it's made by Medford.
Yep, Strider design. Strider makes great design. The Strider ProTech in the family is great. This is an amazing knife from a design, a thickness, just that grail over the top, the fact that DLT got the S90V, all of those things, and it takes break-in. And one of the things that my brother has one too, so there's 3 in the family.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm telling them. And so one of the things is during fight nights, we grab our 75 ARs or a new Medford that requires some break-in. And on fight nights, we get together, smoke cigars,
Makes
and
me proud.
flip Medfords.
Makes me proud. I feel like I started that tradition.
You did, because your 75 needed more break-in than everybody else's.
Because it was new.
That's a good point.
And it wore my fingers out.
It did. It did. But it's a badge of honor.
Oh, it is.
It's a badge of honor.
It sounds so ridiculous to say, but it kind of draws you closer to your knife, makes you appreciate it more.
Here's what I'll tell you is all of these parts over a lifetime will wear. If you've ever held a 50 or 60 or 70-year-old slip joint knife, that has been pocket worn, what you'll find is it'll be, the blades will be rubbing, it'll be all cattywampus and twisted. With these knives, the reason why the break-in, some level of break-in is important, is because as they wear together, the actual surfaces begin to harden to each other, including the titanium, and they go a certain distance in, they smooth out, and instead of it coming absolutely perfect, and after use will make it loose over the years. A knife that is perfect will eventually, if you really use it a lot, will eventually wear to a point where the tolerances may not be good, where the tolerances could be floppy. I would challenge that to ever happen with a Medford.
Well, and you know, we only have a small amount of the Medford collection on the table as far as what, you know, the catalog of Medfords that you can purchase. But even as they've gone into newer stuff and added ball bearings, like with the M48, got into slip joints, it's still such high quality and so precision. Like, it's no question a Medford. Everything's well thought out. It's precise. Guys, if you haven't checked them out on YouTube, he goes through how they make the knives. He has no problem explaining to you how their knives are made, and he knows and has confidence in his knives. You're not going to convince him otherwise. They're just great. They're excellent knives.
So one of the things,
no play,
as an example for their first sort of series of automatics, I think the Nosferatu was the first one that I recognized. Perhaps there's, you could leave in the comments if there was another one. Maybe the Swift was the first one that kind of caught my eye as that EDC reasonably priced for a Medford. So the thing about the Swift that people don't realize is, yes, it's basically the same knife as a CQC7 for just all intents and purposes. It has a similar size blade, similar functionality. Now, it does have a locking mechanism, which the CQC does not. So it does have that as an advantage. But one of the pieces about this is the color. So when you get one, it actually has, so this is their autumn green or something like that. But it actually has depth to the color on the finish. And there's like black underneath and then the green over top. It has titanium hardware with the aluminum scales, right? So the scales are aluminum, but the hardware is titanium. So you're actually getting titanium, not steel hardware, or I don't know, maybe somebody were to use aluminum, but it's not. It's titanium. So the functionality of the blade is there, but there are small elements that make it unique. That one is an SMKW exclusive, an S45 VN, and it came razor sharp from the factory.
Well, of course it did. It's Medford.
Yep.
How could it not? I mean, every Medford I've ever held that's new is sharp.
And here's what I would say. I would say that the Swift is not designed to compete with a ProTech. A Swift is designed for the Medford guy who wants an automatic.
Well, here's the thing, and this is the Medford way. When I guarantee you, when Greg Medford decided he wanted to make this knife, he didn't think about any other knives.
That's fascinating to put it that way, but that's exactly because I struggled with it because the ProTech action is unfathomably good, and this action is soft in comparison. But the features of the blade, the minute details, are on another level, and it is Medford.
Well, look at that. Like the button, the action button, is the Medford hardware, the proprietary hardware. Now, all Medfords have proprietary hardware to some extent.
Yes.
And
as
it
far
changes.
as I know, it is all. Yep. So, for me, even something like this that people I think are sleeping on, if you're a Medford guy, and a Medford guy is a Medford guy, then you want the perfect EDC, lightweight,
or Medford girl.
Automatic. Yep, that's true. 4 1/4 ounces with the little dinky lanyard I put on there.
This Gentleman Jack is something to behold.
It is. Boy, so sometimes it's hard to buy a knife that has flaming or patina Like, for instance, these 75 ARs, they all do look different. And their finishes are different. Some have a bit more bronze, some have a bit more purple, some have a bit more wear look to them. This right here, the pictures didn't do it justice on DLT.
No, the first time it really like sunk in with me is when we were at Smoky Mountain Knife Works and I held one in my hand and we saw that script on the spine there.
Yes.
Made in the United States of America. That it's such a level of class.
This would be a great place to start your Medford journey if you're going to get a brand new Medford, because it can help you in price. And
or the 187 DP.
The 187 is a great place to start for the EDC. But if you want the gentleman knife, this is the gentleman knife right here.
Yeah, it's about $375. A lot of options. Again, if you want to customize one, you can through Medford's website. You might be waiting a little bit to get it, but you definitely can. But it's, guys, obviously you're watching the video and haven't held it, but it might be the highest quality slip joint I think I've ever held.
Yeah.
As far as it just sounds substantial, or sounds substantial. It sounds substantial when it bounced off that table.
Sure did. Yeah, great snap. Awesome half
Yeah, it
stop.
definitely walks and talks.
Without a doubt. Listen to you walks and talks. The precision is there. It is a perfect gentlemanly knife. You just get your little leather slip to put it in and carry it.
The only problem is like my slip joint's usually the knife that I hand somebody because it's easy to use, and I don't know how I'd want to hand somebody that.
This is the slip joint that you could hand somebody and say, well, what are you going to use it for? Oh, I'm going to go and cut these staples open out of the box. Not with this one, you're not. Go and get a screwdriver for that.
And then if they're not a knife guy, they look at you like, oh, you got this knife, but nobody can use it, huh?
That's right. That's a fact. Medford guy life on that level. So,
yeah. And guys, I mean, they're getting into some really cool designs now. You know, they're known for their Praetorians.
48.
They're known for their Praetorians. They're big, chunky, fat boy knives. But now they're getting into some other ones, like the M48 here, that pays homage to General Patton and his M48 tank. It's got the tank tracks. It's got his 4 stars on the backside of the blade. It's got his dog, a little engraving of his dog on there. Just a really great knife.
It does. I didn't notice that. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Wow, the levels. I mean, look, this knife is a perfect EDC, right?
That knife was designed to be a soldier's knife, just like a basic knife for cutting.
That's what it looks like, you know. And it's the same dimension, or maybe a touch longer than a slim midi. If you can't find a slim midi, which is really difficult, M48s are kind of hard to find too. This is an amazing knife. I love the flamed hardware. I love the Merlot. I'm glad you got it. And
I stole it.
I know you did. Yeah, this is a cool knife. All of these knives are cool and serve their purpose.
And that's the first, I believe, the first ball bearing Medford.
Oh, I don't know. The Medford guy said that he thinks that this one is not on ball bearings. It kind of does feel like it. I can't see if it's recessed. You got a flashlight? Let me see. But he said that other slims were ball bearing. And so
might be new, because I heard that they restructured their designs because so many people were complaining that they were hard to open.
Oh, I see. So they tried to eliminate some of that friction.
I was very thrilled when I got this. This was technically my first Medford, even though it's a Strider, but it's made by Medford. And I was thrilled to know that I had to break it in. Like, I was excited about that because it gave me a reason to flick my knife. I remember when I got it, like,
it's a badge of honor.
And I'd go to middle finger flip it, and like it wouldn't go but maybe that far. Like, you remember that? Like it hardly went.
No.
And now it flies open.
And I haven't spent as much time with mine as you have yours, and mine still needs a little bit of a few more hours to kind of get fully broken in. But the 187 that I broke in, that dude right there hurt. Now, here's the secret. Do not, and I own an EDC oil company, do not put oil in the friction surfaces of the frame lock and the blade. What happens is when you do that frame lock and blade slip too far, and you'll have to use a little miniature pry bar to open your Medford. So you do not oil that. That needs to be bone dry. We have paid prices on trying to figure out what to do with a Medford. Oil is okay inside the detent ball. On the 187, you can see it. So put a little bit there, and it'll fly open faster. But do not use any type of EDC oil on the frame lock mechanism, because it'll slide too far and it'll jam. So you don't want to do that, because even those little thousandths of an inch that is enough to where you can't get enough force against that blade. So some of it's user error. You're complicating things by oiling Medfords too much.
Well,
you don't need to oil.
It'll be interesting. I'm interested to see, kind of, I'm sure people will comment, and who don't appreciate Medfords, and that's okay, because he doesn't care if you appreciate them or not. Because they are what they are, and he knows they're a good knife, and we know they're a good knife, and
we just really want to evangelize the brand as much as we can.
And we'll do this with other brands.
Put them on your radar. So there are a lot of great American brands. When it comes to Medford, we believe that we can trust that at the end of the day, it's going to continue to be American made, as long as his name is on the building.
Right.
And that's the most important part about these Medford knives.
Yeah, and he's the type of guy that would 100% go down with the ship.
Yeah. Find yourself a Medford, especially if it's a frame lock design. Pick it up. Break it in. Get used to it.
Yeah. Go out on the limb. Invest.
Yeah.
Do it.
Take your time.
If you care about,
And apparently they have sales on the website now.
They do. Yeah, they do. I saw that.
And some companies do that for you, like DLT. Just
SMKW.
Understand that you're going to end up falling in love with something that's over the top, overbuilt. It's very childish. It's like a Tonka truck. It's a fact.
It is.
It is like a Tonka truck, or a tank as a kid that maybe you had, or whatever that was die cast, that was heavy duty, that you had as a kid, that made you feel like you had something. This is substantial.
It is.
All right? It's a 1972 Buick clunk Cadillac hood closing, right? It's a real product made by Americans, and it's American design. It's over the top.
I love that they use unique tools in their manufacturing, and he discussed that in one of his videos. He goes into that, and you can tell he has a passion for his product. He has a passion for this country, and guys, as far as supporting American companies, that's a whole nother spiel. But we 100% think that you should give your business to American companies, especially American companies that haven't sold out.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
As much as you can. So,
buy American, buy Medford.
Yeah.
You won't be sorry. It might hurt a little bit up front, but, buy once, cry once.
Yeah. And it's something that when you have the opportunity to do. And, look, it's not to take away the manufacturing quality of Europe and Italy and Japan, places like that. It's just to say that, when you should take some amount of your money on purpose and have some purpose with it, and invest in an American manufacturer of a hobby or something you enjoy. You should take some time and a little bit of resources and do that. And maybe if Medford isn't your brand, well then, pick up a Henderer, pick up, one of the other American manufacturers. Emerson, ProTech. Benchmade, Spyderco. Step out. Find some of their higher quality stuff. You're not going to be disappointed. We are the greatest manufacturer of blades in the world. There's no question about that. Because whether it's...
We being American, not we, the clip point.
That's a fact. And you're not going to find any better product out there. And the reason why is because America is the greatest country on the planet. And we foster ingenuity. We don't have necessarily a ton of preconceptions of what's right or wrong when it comes to design. It's what this guy thought. He convinced a bunch of other people to think similarly, and they bought his stuff. And that's the American dream right there. That's what you get the chance to do. I really like that story. Right?
Yeah.
So.
And guys, obviously, check out Medford on Instagram, on YouTube. Throw them a follow, give them a subscribe. Learn about their brand, That's one thing that we really try to do as knife guys is we buy into the company more so than the product. The product sells us, but the company's what keeps us. And you know, and that's the cool thing with some of these knife companies is you start to get to know the people behind it, and you know, do they build knives for money or do they build knives for a purpose? And
so I was gonna just forget. I just remembered. You reminded me. So I had my vault that has like 48 knives or something, in some small amount, and I had the lid open because I'm preparing for our shoot this evening. And my one of my peers, who I'm also friends with, came over and sat down, and we were both doing a little bit of computer work, and he picked up the Slim MIDI first. He went, wow, look at that. He's not a knife guy, right? Wow, that's really something. I take it for granted because I'm so used to it. And he had access to more than 10 knives, all of them sort of a grail level. Then the second knife he picks up was a 75 AR. Oh my goodness, look at this. And he's just wowed by it. He was floored, and he was like, ah. And then another one that he picked up, which,
and then he asked how much it cost, and
he did not.
He started to have a coronary. He's like, oh, I gotta sit down.
No, he didn't. You know why he didn't? He didn't because because the quality established itself.
That's right.
And the cost wasn't the point.
That's right.
Because he was like, I've never held anything or seen anything like this.
Well, here's the thing, right? You can go buy some over-the-top, custom-y, Damascus, mirrored, meteorite, whatever, for thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Or you can spend, you know, Medford's got some that's up there, but you can spend between $500 to $1,000 and get something that's going to last forever, be equally as cool, and be like 4 times the knife of that other knife.
Yep.
That's a great point, though. I mean, when you hold a Medford, you can tell. And listen, we've gone around SMKW. We've held the Olamex. We've held Microtex. We've held pretty much anything you can think of. That we've held $10,000 knives that are custom. You know, one-off with gold in them. Nothing feels like a Medford.
That's true.
Plus, there's a little bit of pride in a Medford.
Nothing cheesy about a Medford.
No. Nothing cheesy. 100% purpose-driven, purpose-built. Just all around excellent knives.
Yep. So that's our take. That's our spiel on the undisputed ultimate American knife manufacturer. Who do you say is the undisputed ultimate American knife manufacturer? That's what we want to know. Hopefully, we made some of you very angry. Hopefully, we made some of you very excited. And mostly, what we really wanted to do is pique some interest for some folks who aren't familiar. I have an employee who's not familiar with Medford just a few months ago, saw one of my Instagram posts and was like, what is that knife? I have to know what that knife is. And it was a Medford. And he's now collecting, and he's like, okay, you know, I got to look and see which Medford I want to get. And he called me just yesterday and asked me questions. And I was telling him about the Proxima and the M48, some different, you know, things that are coming out that are popular today. So,
and listen, they're sought after. When you go hunting for your Medford, whatever it is, it's a hunt. You're going to be looking because some of them are hard to find.
Yep.
You know, you said the Proxima. I found 3 Proximas available on the internet. This was one of them. So
it was. I call that the Josh style, which is all black.
Murdered out.
Murdered out.
I didn't wear black today.
It's joshed.
But I felt like I needed to wear this shirt on camera. And
it's a good shirt.
It is a good shirt.
Yes.
But guys, you know, we're going to do more brand reviews. Let us know, you know, if there's a brand you'd like to see us, you know, chat about and give you our opinion on.
Yeah.
And as always, stay sharp.
Stay sharp.
See you on the next one.